The president decided to do his autobiography at this point in time because that's what he's good at. He's good at deciding things.
He is the decider.
That's one of his strengths.
And mostly because Jesus told him to do this autobiography at this time.
He has a morning breakfast meeting with Jesus, and Jesus felt that releasing this book in October, just before the November elections, would lead to slightly higher marketplace visibility.
Well, and also help the Republican Party in general at the polls
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully sweep the House and the Senate.
So it was a co-Jesus, co-Bush decision.
Mm.
And
As most of them are.
we pushed him out a little bit on it as well. Having recorded his weekly radio address for a couple of years now, we had the idea to record his entire life story as an audiobook and as a book. But of course, he had to run it by the Lord.
Of course. We're generally inspired by Bush and his whole youthful struggle and his uphill climb to the presidency. It's really an inspiring story. We knew a little about it before we went into the project, but we learned quite a bit. So we decided that we would go to the president and suggest this to him and see what he said.
And we learned that writing is hard. We worked with him to learn how to read and write together as a team, and we're able to put this together, and we're very proud of it. We had to go in for our criminal background check before we got into the White House. I think that was about an 18-month process.
So we actually spent more time being checked out and probed, literally, for the background check than we did writing the book, I think.
You know, we were also detained in the Guantanamo Bay holding facility and tortured to test our loyalty before we could come in, which wasn't necessary. I mean, we were loyal supporters of the president. But before he lets somebody into his inner circle, he has to be absolutely certain.
And we were right in that inner circle. And we spent a lot of time with him in the Oval Office in Crawford, White House West. So we got right into his life, and he opened up to us.
I mean, when we worked, I mean, he took a lot of time off because he works hard. He needs to take a few well-deserved months off here and there.
For every hour we worked, we would say we took 2 hours off with Bush. And he would go play golf, and we would caddy for him occasionally. We spent quite a bit of time with him trying to know his heart and what the man himself was all about.
And I think we captured the organ. Our writing process with the president was probably a little different than most biographers of most presidents. I think a lot of presidents who were famous for their biographies, like Grant or Clinton, his My Life was quite a tome, and they did a lot of that writing themselves. And
I wouldn't even call what we were doing writing so much.
yeah, we just observe the president at work, and we acted as flies on the wall, and that's our experience as journalists. We would just watch him and watch him work and watch him.
Watch his facial expressions, how he reacted to things.
And we would just infer from that some of the details about his life. We would bike ride with him.
I think chapter 7 we wrote entirely by watching him bike. And
yeah, he didn't say anything. We would just ride along with him. And we wrote that entire chapter based on his pedaling. We didn't do any traditional scholarship for this book.
Traditional in quotes. We didn't go on the internet and find out all we could about the background, about the president.
He wanted to be a great work, unencumbered by research and facts and things that tend to muddy up a good book. When we needed facts, we certainly had his clearance to invent them. So there are many legitimate facts in the book.
That we've made up.
We looked into our own hearts as well and our own spirit to find our great love and respect for this president. I don't think you can write a book this depth without finding within yourself a deep and lasting fealty to a great leader.
And face it, love. I think we both came out with a deep...
Well, I liked him.
I gotta say, I love the man. And I think people will be surprised by George Bush's spirit in this book. I think the book captures who the president is more than, say, the liberally biased media captures that. The liberally biased media is objective about the president and doesn't tell the truth about him. They skew the facts.
If I had to name what the president was most proud of in his life, you look back on this book that we did, that's easy.
His shaving habits,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. He's always clean shaven.
And it's his whole body.
Yeah.
He's a swimmer, so he has to keep his whole body shaved. You'll walk in to do, say, chapter 17, and he'll be being shaved by his aides in the hard-to-reach places. And, it cuts down on the resistance in the water. But it's sometimes a shocker to walk into the Oval Office and seeing the president being shaved. It's a whole security issue. He explained it to me once. What if, Air Force One goes down over the ocean? The official emergency plan, I guess, is for him to oil himself up and swim to safety.
Wait a minute. No, he gave us a different answer to that. You weren't supposed to say that. That's like top secret government security information. You just revealed it in this interview.
Really?
I just want it for the record that Peter said that, and I didn't say that. You're going to get in trouble. What if Air Force One is downed over the ocean? Now terrorists can try that. Now they might conceive of that because you've given them that information.
I never thought of that. Can you edit that out?
There was a little bit of strife in the Bush family after his decision to publish this book. It was his decision, and at the end of the day, his decision is going to carry.
Mm-hmm.
But his wife Laura was not happy with it.
I think they separated for a while because of it.
I think they're still separated. You never see them together.
No, I guess not.
I think she moved back in with her parents.
I think it's a thing also where, he's in Washington, she's in Crawford, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Vice President Cheney was very upset about the book. He said it would possibly lead to another 9/11 type terror attack because we were revealing
close personal information that terrorists might use against the president.
Exactly.
But again, he's a faithful servant of the president, and he's a servant of the people, and he did what was right.
He backed the president.
Honored the president's decision, and not only that, he did the introduction to the book.
Yeah.
And you got to hand it to
he did a
Vice
great
President
job.
for that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real honor working with this administration. They're just a wonderful bunch of really warm-hearted, wonderful people, just giving people.
Right, yeah. I have no complaints about that whatsoever. They open their house to us, as it were.